Hi guys and welcome. Oh, what do you think to this one? Whoa. Hi everybody, how you doing? Lovely to see you all today. Today's a very interesting topic. Yeah, come a little bit closer. Today's an interesting topic because it's something that I've worked with clients over the past many years and helping them through the stigma which is definitely attached to abandonment due to adoption. And it's very, very interesting. It's a very deep subject and something that is very challenging for anybody to truly understand if you're not in the acceptance of spirituality, openness, acceptance, or that energy of letting go. It's a challenge because in the back of our mind all the time there's the question why. I'm going to break down a few things to you to try and help you understand certain things that I saw and witnessed firsthand and helped with, and things that shocked me as well. So, I've got so many stories about it. In fact, I could write a book about this because you would be surprised how many people felt abandoned as children. And you know what? That's not always, it's not always about adoption. Abandonment can mean anything. A father can go and work away. A mother and father can put you into a private institution, schooling where there's so many forms. But let me try and at least tackle one of them and put this into some sort of spiritual contents. I can't speak these days. I should go back to school. Still wouldn't learn. Content. Okay, forget it. Let's start, shall we? Okay, let's bring a story that I maybe be able to recall what really shook my foundations and theirs to make us think about life. Okay, yeah, so I remember a lovely lady. She was in her 40s. She was always very sad when she came to me, and she had, can't even remember her name now. I wouldn't even give you a name, but I'm just trying to, oh yes, I remember her name now. Come on, sorry, I'm just processing, trying to bring back. Lovely lady. She always had a nice head of hair, really nice, and it was kind of red. It was a lovely head of hair, but she was always sad when she came to me because when she was a little girl, she was given up to another family, and this other family coincidentally ended up being friends of mine. So it all kind of was quite interesting how all this started happening. So let me relax and get into this. So I remember the first session we had, she was extremely guilty, and there's a lot of guilt attached to adoption, because imagine you've been brought up with a beautiful family who love you like the child that they say you are my child. And the mother and father to this particular lovely lady were the most adorable mother and father that anybody could wish for. And part of her burden was not knowing who her parents were. Through one reason or another, she could never find out who they were, but there was a lot of stigma attached to that, because deep inside, when I used to give a healing and speak to her, I used to say, you actually could find out who your parents are, couldn't you? And she'd say, I could. And she says, but I don't go there because I don't want to make my parents feel bad. I don't want to insult my parents. I don't want to bring forward this energy, and I don't want to make them feel bad for me wanting to find my real parents. And I said, I completely understand that. I said, but there is something more to life, and that is that if something's always in your mind constantly, and if you're always feeling that you were abandoned and you never really truly, you've got to You've got to hear this firsthand from your parents to actually believe anything. It doesn't matter what your adopted parents say or what anybody says, it doesn't make any difference. They can tell you what you want. Deep in your mind, you never heal from that pain unless you've actually spoken directly to your parents. That's one of the challenging things. It's very hard. You need to hear it from the horse's mouth. And then there's that energy that, what if? What if my parents are? What if we could rekindle a flame? What if we can? What if? So there's always that sense of pain and suffering and what ifs and that darkness that always surrounds the unknown and the possibilities. So that's a real challenging thing I found with my clients who were suffering this challenge, because that's what it is. This particular lady had, we chatted. I don't call it counselling, we just chatted. And I saw certain things that I didn't want to show her or share with her, but I would gently give her information that may help her when she actually came face to face with one or both parents. And I remember the day that we discussed openly, because she was ready now. She was strong enough and ready. And that was to be honest with her adopted mum and dad and her brothers and sisters, because she was part of a big family. So she was strong enough and brave enough after us talking for many months, and she had everything kind of planned out. She had everything wrote down. And I remember she sat her family down and said, would it be possible if one of you reads this to everybody else? Which I thought was a very, very shrewd thing to do. She wrote from her heart, and I think it was her brother who read everything to the family. They all gathered round her and gave her a cuddle, and they all cried. That's what I was told. And they all said with their open heart, you must do what feels right and we will support you. And there was no sadness or worry or fear. They all supported her. So off she went on a journey, which was to another country, to find her parents, who both lived, I think, very close, about 15 or 20 miles, but they've got their own families now. So I don't know how she got in contact, but she managed. Anyway, I remember the day she came back to me, and she looked relieved. That was the only thing I could say, relieved. Okay, so we sat down and I gave her a cuddle first, and I said, okay then, do you want to share? She says, I do. What came out was that the man that she met, which was her biological father, was an abusive, narcissistic, a horrible human being. And she'd only spent 15 minutes with him, and she said she wanted to get away from him after 5. Not even 5, I think she was almost immediately, with his reaction and his energy. And I said, and I'm clapping, and she's looking shocked, and I'm saying, oh, I'm so pleased. And what about the mother? The mother was slightly different, more, I think because the mother was older, there was a stigma attached to the mother that all guilt came back. So she could feel the guilt of the mother, and the mother had blocked completely and didn't show any emotion or any sign. In fact, the mother was kind of in shock, you know. And I think they spent an afternoon together, and I asked, how did that go? That was very cold and very difficult, even the cuddle. So I said, okay, great. Now then, let me ask you, how do you feel now about all of this? And she said, if I'm right in thinking, my expectations were that what held me in suffering all my life. And I said, so your expectations were that your parents would have been something else, perhaps, or more beautiful, or they may have had an excuse and a reason why. Kind of, she said, because I would have expected answers. I would have expected, but nothing. So I said, but did you get your answer? Even though they never spoke, she said, absolutely. I said, so come on, let's talk about this. Now that you know this and you've gone through this, if you knew when you were a little baby what you know now about your parents, would you swap your true parents who loved you and took care of you for those two? She smiled and she put her head down and she started crying. And I said, no guilt attached. You needed to do what you needed to do. So I then started to explain to her the bigger picture. There are times in life before we come here, and we have to go through certain challenges. And I saw this as one of the most amazing, powerful challenges in the world, and how relevant this story is in my perception of what I believe true power and wisdom comes from this particular story, and many like it. Ultimately, what is family? If we are truly all brothers and sisters, and we are all connected on a soul level, then surely whoever shows love to you is your family. Before we come into this world, we choose who comes into our life. We choose the parents. We choose friends. We choose new families. We choose new partners. We choose everything that will fit into a certain beautiful flow that allows us at times to overcome certain challenges. Now, this story I share with you, I believe, is a challenge, or was a challenge, for this beautiful lady with lovely red hair to realize that her life wasn't always about having a biological mother and father to love, but to actually learn how to love a family who isn't biological as much as a biological father and mother. Isn't it beautiful to say that I have a family that are my family, that are more than a family, that are biological? Isn't that damn amazing to have the love for a family who isn't your blood family, to see them and feel them and love them equally, if not more, than a biological family? And I said to her, you know, when I sat there, I read for so many people. And you know what? You are so lucky to have the parents that you have. You are blessed. When we are abandoned as we see it, I don't see it as abandoned. I see you as a strong, powerful soul who chose to learn the ultimate lesson of this world. And that is to find your inner strength, love and power and happiness through your own doing. From no parents, from nobody else, from you. And ask yourself this question. If you didn't have any parents, if you had nobody, would you really be able to stand up in front of me and look at me and say, I feel amazing, powerful, strong, and I feel that I am my own family? It's a challenge, trust me. And the feeling of abandonment is also another challenge. Was I good enough? Am I worthy? Those are the challenges that you have to go through. Those are those feelings and thoughts that are with you constantly that you have to break free from and become more powerful than. So ultimately, the message today is, if you've ever been abandoned, or if your parents don't speak to you anymore, or whoever, always look at it as a positive. It gives you the opportunity to conquer one of the most powerful lessons in the world. Because only true power from within comes when you are your own and true support. When you need not have verification and constant confirmation from others to tell you that you are a beautiful child, that you're a wonderful child. So be proud of yourself and remember that you are more of a warrior and a lion than any of us who were lucky enough to have at least one or two parents. One loved us, or maybe not, but you know, you're amazing. You're amazing. You really are. And you know what, guys? You know, the truth is, there's so many people who fight with blood relations. So many mothers who abandon their children, even though they live with them every day. There's no love. There's no communication. There's no touch. There's no confirmation of love. So many of us truly have lived in that abandonment, have lived with the stigma of, why am I not good enough? Why did they never tell me I'm filled with love and kindness? I had a father like that, an abusive dad, and I'm sure you have had family members like that. So today, pat yourself on the back for being the stronger, for conquering that and having children, or having friends and other family that you consider are like children, and you've broken the mold, and you are now the more loving, understanding, caring, sensitive, and a beautiful mother figure or mother to your children. And how could you ever be that person if you didn't experience what you did? So thank you from the bottom of my heart for being who you are today and breaking the mold and making a difference in the world. So if any stigmas attached to you about abandonment, I hope today this clears it up. Take that away, throw it in the bin, and bring forward a new energy of how powerful you have conquered the lesson of becoming the most amazing, strong soul to go through one of the greatest tests and challenges this world has ever seen. You are amazing. Have a great day, guys. Love you all. Take care.